Hey, alright, shalom, shalom. I want to start off by giving all glory and praise and fear to your Father, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, BAHASHAM, QADASH. As I get double honor, apostle as a great millstone, you do well. Here's your brother, come member of the Great Millstone Atlanta Camp. We're back again today with another video, and this one's going to be called Treaty of Versailles and how it led to World War II. And how it was when, let me rephrase that. Tongue-tied, slack. I just got off of work. I want to make this video. I was gonna do it earlier, but I ended up just taking notes, and I was like, man. And by the time I got off of work, I was like, well, we got to come out somehow. Shit, somebody got to do it. Anyways, so it's gonna be called Treaty of Versailles, history, and how that was one of the main factors of World War II. I'll say it like that. So if you read Revelations, the 9th chapter, it goes into the Treaty of Versailles. You know, we read this Revelation 9 verse 5. It says, because Revelation's 9th chapter is really talking about what World War One. Okay, heavily it goes into World War One. Now World War One was from 1914 to 1919. And how it ended was known as the Treaty of Versailles. Now the scriptures talk about it. I'm gonna read up about the Treaty of Versailles, and also on how the rise of Germany came about from the Treaty of Versailles, okay, into World War II, due to what the Treaty of Versailles, and what it did, because what the Treaty of Versailles really did was put harsh punishment on Germany for World War One. A lot of the things that needed to be rebuilt was put upon the German economy, okay, which basically caused it to collapse, Anyways, Revelations 9 verse 5, and to them it was given that they should not kill them, but they should that they should torment them 5 months, and that their torment was like the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man. Okay, we're talking about the scorpions, talking about basically the railgun, okay, or the flyer jets. I'll say like that. Yeah, tail gun, not railgun. So okay, the tail of the flyer jets, because that was new technology. When John was on the island of Patmos, okay, he didn't know necessarily what he was looking at as he was looking in the sky. He's never seen an airplane before. They didn't have airplanes during the Roman Empire. All right, they didn't have those type of technology back then. Okay, so he just described when he best he could through these revelations that were peeled back. Okay, that was given to him on the island of Patmos. Okay, when these revelations, what World War One, World War Two, and World War Three. Now we're about to enter into World War Three. Right now it's a Cold War. The Cold War turned to hot wars, because right now you see what a trade war going on, where you can see how these nations, okay, from previous wars still have bits and pieces to fight against Babylon with, man. Okay. Oh Lord, hold on. Let me drink some of this. Also, Shabbat is done, so hopefully Akim had a good Shabbat. I didn't really do much. I fucking slept and went to work. But, that's life in Babylon. Anywho, so I'm going to jump to the point. Once again, jump down to 10. It says, and they had tails like unto scorpions, and when they and there were stings in their tails. Yeah, because the bullets come out from the back of the plane. All right, the tail gun. Okay, and their powers was to hurt men 5 months. It's talking about 5 years, because World War One ended up from 1914 to 1919, and they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name was in the Hebrew Abaddon. Which, I mean, that means what? Destruction. Yeah. Okay, so Abaddon means destruction, but in the Greek tongue, his name is Apollyon, which is destruction as well, or destroyer. Okay. Now this guy that John is describing is Kaiser Wilhelm II. Okay, the king of Prussia, which Prussia is Germany. Okay, so you can see, okay, Prussia or Germany was a part of World War One. Now World War One ended by what? The Treaty of Versailles, and the scriptures go into that. Now this is Revelations 9 verse 12. One woe is past, and behold, there cometh 2 woes hereafter. Okay, so now it's going into a war. After World War One was a World War Two. So let's read about the Treaty of Versailles and how World War One ended. All right, so this is Treaty of Versailles, 1919, 28 June 28, 1919. Say it like that. After 4 years of devastating fighting, it's really 5. For the First World War came to an end in 1919 in Versailles. I say Versailles, but I guess you say what the fuck you want. Not what the fuck you want, but you know how you pronounce it. I'm a southern boy. So the treaty, which represents peace, was represented peace for some and the diktat for others, also sowed the seed of the Second World War. Exactly. Okay, so Lord really used these men, okay, this First World War to start off the Second World War. Now remember, this Third World War is going to be mainly between who? Russia, Gog and Magog, and America. Now remember what happened, okay, during World War II. Okay, after that was what known as the Cold War. Okay, and Russia really went into hibernation, but now they're starting to show. So you see how previous wars can affect, okay, what we see now. Okay, so let's go into that. It says almost half a century after the proclamation of the German Empire, Clemenceau, the Prime Minister of France, savored his revenge on the 28th June 1919, when the defeated Germans delegates signed the peace in the Hall of Mirrors. Okay, the treaty in the Hall of Mirrors, the peace treaty in the Hall of Mirrors, in the same place where Germany had previously proclaimed its empire. Ooh, that's dirty. The First World War is over. A. Louis the 15th, the X is 10, I believe, and the 5, and the V is 5. Beru had been placed in the century of the hall beneath the emblematic painting of Louis, I believe that's the 6th. Yes, 6th. Titled "The King Governs by Himself." The session lasted 50 minutes, a solemn occasion which was not... I lost my place. The solemn occasion which was not celebrated with the decorum of or music was attended by 27 delegates representing 32 powers. The 4 representatives of the principal allies were at the table. It was talking about the Big Four. Okay, if you read about the Big Four, their main 4, basically superpowers. Not superpowers necessarily, but the biggest leaders there. Okay, which is, let's read about the Big Four. The Big Four. All right, typed in. Okay, the Big Four would be who? Lord George of Britain, Vittorio Emanuele Orlando of Italy, Georges Clemenceau of France, and Woodrow Wilson of the United States. And so I might be butchering their names, but, you know, read and pronounce it for yourself. You know, I'm not the best pronunciation guy, but, you know, the information is there and it's helpful. And it's good to know these things, you know, to go into the history. Well, you know, because, nigga, you should know this. Not nigga, you should know this, but, you know, like, someone comes up talking about the Treaty of Versailles. Well, do you know about the Treaty of Versailles? Do you know what World War I? You know, I'm speaking for myself first and foremost, because I had to read about this shit like 3-4 weeks ago. So I was like, you know, shit, might as well make a video on it. And there's another thing I want to make a video on. There's another thing I want to make a video on. Another thing. But it really is like 3 or 4 main videos I want to make this week. So this is one of them. The Paris Peace Conference was an initial meeting conveyed in January 19th. Versailles, just outside Paris. Okay, which I don't necessarily need that, but so the Big Four. Okay, so this is what it's talking about when it talks about the 4 representatives of the principal allies were at the table. Clemenceau for France, Wilson for the United States, Lord George for Britain, and Orlando for Italy. The German delegation was composed of Muller, the Minister of Foreign Aid, and jurist one Dr. Bell. Versailles during the Great War. Negotiations had proved difficult. The treaty had been drafted during a peace treaty held in France starting on January 18th. But Germany had been shut out of the deal-making while the Allies debated the matter alone. Unable to agree amongst themselves, France wanted to definitely remove the German threat and cripple the country. Great Britain wanted to preserve its status. The United States dreamed of a peaceful nation. Yeah, fucking right. Now you gotta understand that all these wars are bankers' wars, okay? Which I have an article going into World War II and the rise of Adolf Hitler. Which I really just want to grab the fact that he's a so-called JOO, okay? And that his father is a Rothschild. Which I have it here. So I'll grab it in a bit. But we're going to go into this, okay? Because you see how Esau places these puppet leaders in place in order to bring forth these world wars. And make no mistake about it, Trump was placed there, okay, to have this World War III pop off, which I do believe that he is that man. All right, I do believe, as the other Apostle Tahar goes into that, this nigga's narrow, okay, and he's gonna burn down Rome, okay, and the small hats are using him and dragging him into World War III, just how as the small hats used Adolf Schicklgruber, okay, and put him as a world power, a leader of Germany at the time, and had him raised into power through playing on the people's minds, okay. Which, the video wasn't necessarily about this, but it was really about the tree versailles. But I guess that's what how the spirit has me speaking. So I don't know. So as Great Britain wanted to preserve its status, the United States dreamed of a peaceful world with establishment of the League of Nations. Now I was going to look that up. League of Nations. Search the web. The League of Nations was an international organization founded in 1920 after World War I, aiming to prevent future wars by resolving disputes peacefully and promoting intentional cooperation. So we're the members, though. $63 states. Albania. God damn, that's a lot of motherfuckers. Okay, anywho. Germany joined in 1926, and the Soviet Union joined in 1934. Japan joined in 1933. Slovakia. Just for my information. And Italy wanted to take over the territories it had been promised in 1915. The treaty was eventually presented to Germany on May 7th. It was very harsh. Yeah, because they wanted to punish Germany. Okay, which later ended up to basically a puppet leader ruling, okay, and coming into power from that, okay, because it played on the people's mind, okay. The counter proposals submitted on the 29th were all rejected. Germany refused to sign. On June 17th, the Allies gave Germany 5 days to decide, or have the war resume. Germany accepted the diktat. It's the agreement. It says it cannot be denied that the conditions were somewhat draconian. And, Esau, what? He speaks like a lamb. It's Revelations 13, verse 11. I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Now, he appears as a lamb, but he speaks as a dragon. Now, we understand this is talking about the two political parties. Okay, but I'm just using it as an example. Okay, it's talking about the Democrats and Republicans, also known in the Roman Empire as the patricians and plebeians. Okay, so, but, it says what? They're draconian. Okay, and, it means what? Harsh. Okay, they're very harsh upon Germany. Okay, harsh laws were put upon this man. Not this man, but the country Germany, which can later be pulled into World War II. Because Revelation 9 verse 12, one more time, it says, "What one woe is past, and behold, there cometh two woes more hereafter." Okay, now you can also link Revelations, the 13th chapter, where it talks about Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Okay, because it says what? Revelations 13 verse 13, it says, "And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men." Okay, when he dropped the nukes, fat man and little boy, okay, over there in Japan, which ultimately came from what? Okay, one of the main factors, the Treaty of Versailles. So everything is connected, man. Okay, everything is connected. Okay, everything is connected. Okay, so that's heavy if you think about it, because the Lord put everything on the Spirit just for that one, for these scientists to, make these atomic missiles. Okay. Slocky. Let me see if I can. Make these atomic missiles and really have these scientists, come from Germany over to America after World War II to really start this technology, these team nights to really get this technology push. You see, so that's really heavy. But I'm just speaking. I'm trying to find the actual precept. It's cool. It's cool if I don't find it. Yeah, I don't really need it right now. I was just trying to find something but this looks cool. So it was very harsh. Right here, after I see I highlighted it. The counter proposals submitted on the 29th were all rejected. Germany refused to sign on June 17th. The Allies gave Germany 5 days to decide or have the war resume. Germany accepted the diktat. It cannot be denied that the conditions were somewhat draconian. Germany accepted responsibility for the war and lost 68 kilometers squared, which means like double, of territory. Damn, that's a lot if you think about it. Let me see how much that is. Shit. Look up. Just square miles. Calculate. So 26,500. 26,254 hundred. But it says what's squared. So it's really double that. It's like around 48,000. Let me make sure. No, it's like 52,000. It's lucky. Anywho. Of territory, including Alsace and Lorraine, which had been annexed in 1870 and 8 million inhabitants. Part of Western Prussia, Germany, was given to Poland, which gained access to the sea of the famous Polish corner. The Germans agreed to pay the crushing sum of 20 billion gold marks in reparations claimed by France. In addition, it lost most of its ore. Damn, it fucked Germany up. And agriculture production. Its colonies were confiscated, and its military strength was crippled. Humiliated, Germany sought revenge. A new war, which everyone had hoped to avoid, was already blowing up on the horizon almost as soon as Germany delegation receded over it. Exactly, it's caused what? A man by the name of Hitler. Okay, Hitler did the yellow. I'm trying to say diddler, but Hitler to rise up. Okay, because that was really the start of World War II. Okay, not really the start of it, but he was a puppet leader, and he was one of the main antagonists of World War II. So I just have a little article here on that, and then I'll close it up. Nothing too heavy. Hitler is a JOO by passport, the grandson of the RAWCHAA, which the El Paso Gabar always goes into this. Hitler being a JOO and his name being Schicklgruber, okay, which he's a son of a Rothschild.